Hello, everyone. It is Mo with the nightly Newsy News, and there is something strange going on in well, Kansas, I guess, or Kansas City. Good evening, Aaron Olivia and Phoenix Fire and DK Cripple and AC Wildflower. Kansas City's Chiefs fan was asleep on the couch for 2 days while his friends lay not alive in his backyard, lawyer says. Will call magic. Good evening. This story is getting stranger and stranger, and I just don't understand how you don't realize that your friends are in your backyard. They're basically friendsicles. I don't know. The football fan who hosted a party that ended with three of his friends, well, frozen outside his Kansas City rental property, was asleep on the couch for 2 days while loved ones frantically tried to contact him, his lawyer said. David Harrington, 37, Ricky Johnson, 38, and Clayton McGeaney, 36, had gathered at the house rented by Jordan Willis on the afternoon of January 7th to watch their favorite football team play their last game of the regular season. The three visitors were found, well, frozen at the property 2 days later, and only after the fiance of one of the victims broke into the house and found the bodies, according to a friend's Facebook post. He was asleep. He was asleep on the couch. The last memory he has is of them leaving out the front door. He doesn't know what happened with them until, when the police came Tuesday night to his house. Willis's lawyer, John Picarino, told the Post about the Missouri mystery. He added that Kansas City investigators said that there was no foul play and they were not investigating this or his client in connection with the bizarre and inexplicable deaths. I mean, this story is very odd. If they had been drinking, though, people have been known to drink, wander into the wilderness, not realize how cold they are, and then, succumb to the elements. They've said that there's no foul play, they don't suspect it, and it's not being treated as a homicide investigation, the lawyer said. This case is 100% not being investigated as a homicide, Kansas City Police Captain Jake Bachinia said to Fox News. Kansas City Police did not respond to requests from the Post for comment. A pending toxicology report will shed more light on the incident, especially as the men were found outside while their cars and Willis's warm house were just yards away. It was really cold, They could have gone out for fresh air. They could have gone out to smoke a cigarette. Picanrero speculated Tuesday. Hello, Tia Nina. Maybe the bathroom was occupied. They could have gone out to use the restroom after a whole day of watching football. It was late at night. Temperatures on January 7th and 8th mostly stayed in the low 30s before plummeting into the teens on the afternoon of January the 9th, according to Weather Underground. The lawyer insisted that his client, who works as an HIV vaccine development scientist, would have done anything in his power to come to the aid of Harrington, Johnson, and McGeaney. Now, yeah, but you were asleep for 2 days and you couldn't respond to calls? You're on camera, dear. They were his buddy. They hung out all the time. The two of them he went to high school with, Piscinero said, adding that Willis bought them all tickets to the Chiefs playoff game the next weekend against Miami. Yes. If he could have helped them, he would have helped them if they needed help. He had no idea they were back there. When asked if there was a chance that the men had been doing not legal pharmaceuticals and suffered from an overdose, the lawyer did not rule that out. There's a chance for everything. Yes, they could have been abducted by Bigfoot, but that's not probable. I mean, I feel terrible for these families because they have no answers right now, and I know that must be torturous. Willis could not be reached for comment and has moved out of the rental property and scrubbed his social media accounts after the tragedy, the Daily Mail reported. Friends of the victims have taken to social media to contend that Willis is partially responsible for the strange deaths, which seems to raise as many questions as the frozen bodies found in the latest season of True Detective. This man was inside his home alive while my friends are dead in his yard for Lord knows how long, Kaylee Latier wrote on Facebook. And so, yeah, they were all hanging out since after the game Sunday. He knew people were looking for them. He read messages of people searching for him on Tuesday. Yeah, so there are parts of this story that aren't making sense, like him not responding to things. And there can be, innocuous reasons. Maybe they did have quite a bit to drink and he was sleeping one off. I mean, there can be, somewhat innocuous reasons. My husband banged on his door for 20 minutes, Latier continued. My friend banged on his door, then busted a window and yelled and announced her presence while she was inside, and still nothing from him. Then the cops come 10 minutes later and he comes out nonchalant in his boxers with an empty wine glass in a hand. Nothing is adding up. Dave, Clay, and Ricky need and deserve justice. Latier did not immediately respond to an interview request from the Post. Also, we have to remember the source of this information. And I'm not saying that she's not telling the truth, but she is grieving. And if this is just unexplained, if this is a fluke, there's no one to be angry at but God right now. And it's a lot easier to be angry at a person sometimes. So I'm not saying that, but, I'd much rather wait for the police to give us a sort of or what they've learned from their investigation. But a lot of this is sounding really, really shady. Johnson's niece, Stephanie Walling, paid tribute to her uncle on a fundraising website set up to help pay for funeral expenses. This is a tragedy that has left our family utterly devastated and mourning a tremendous loss. Ricky was not only an adored father to his 3 beautiful daughters, but also a cherished son, brother, uncle, and friend. A commenter on the page was incredulous. With a friend like that, just doesn't make sense. My thoughts are with you. A celebration of life was held for Harrington during Kansas City's defeat of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Divisional Series on Sunday. Funerals for Johnson and McGeaney, are set to be held on Friday and Saturday in suburban Missouri. So a lot more is coming out on this. Something isn't reading right about this. It just, maybe not foul play, but maybe some form of negligence, or they were maybe doing a bit more than the drinking, but that's a whole lot of speculation. And until we get the tox reports back, I don't think that's going to be a whole lot productive. In other news of people that, why are they famous? Salt Bae is back in the news. This guy. Salt Bae's $108,000 receipt brag sparks fury. People have more money than common sense. I know. He's started a beef by serving beef. Celebrity steak chef Salt Bae has sparked fury for posting a $108,500 receipt for a single meal at his Dubai restaurant last week. That meal better come with a wife, like a couple of Rosie robots, and an Alice, for the love of all that is holy. Money comes and money goes. The 40-year-old Turkish chef, whose real name is Nusret, this last name, penned on Instagram to his nearly 54 million followers. Critics argue that the lengthy bill is an insult to hardworking Turks who struggle to cope with a 60% rise in inflation and 10% unemployment rate. The unidentified diners who visited the Nusret Steakhouse Dubai at the Four Seasons Resort on Saturday, meanwhile, feasted on beef carpaccio, French fries, salad, baklava, and fruit. Yeah, look, this thing with the salt, I don't get it. They also enjoyed luxurious gold-covered meat, including one filet mignon for $270, three steaks for $1,390. They washed down their entrees with four porn star martinis. YouTube, this is his restaurant. I didn't make up the names to this junk. For $130, two bottles of Chateau Petrus 2009 for $53,900. Um, the what? Okay. I'm thinking one of those martinis you'd have to help guide me out of the restaurant. Another bottle of wine for nearly $18,000, five double glasses of exclusive Louis the Sixth, or wait, no, that's 13th cognac neat for 7,500. And well, they were nice, so they did shell out nearly $25,000 in tips. Maybe I need to go be a waitress in Dubai. Nope, it's a whole lot near the equator and I'm clear. Never mind. Salt Bay's blatant brag did not sit well with incensed Instagram commenters. This is a case when people have more money than common sense, one person declared. My carpenter can cook better, another spat. And Turkish newspaper of record reportedly accused Salt Bay of flaunting his wealth as citizens struggle to make ends meet with a 3-cent minimum wage. Yeah. Salt Bay, known as the internet's sexiest butcher. I didn't know we even had a category for that. I didn't think it was going to be Cletus down at the Walmart, but okay. Came to global prominence in 2017 when an Instagram video of his signature sensual moves of preparing it. Look, I have seen his Instagram stuff. It's just creepy. It's not like you shouldn't get that in touch with beef. It's just a little weird. I mean, if it's your jam, I'm not going to kink shame. If you're a foodie to that level, yay for ya, but it's not my cup of tea. He went on to establish a chain of more than 20 restaurants, including a since-closed Manhattan burger joint. The sunglasses-wearing butcher has served the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Fat Joe, and David Beckham. Yeah, no, I don't want you near my table. You look like you put on a whole lot of baby oil and like body glitter. It's just... He has garnered backlash in the past for sharing pricey bills from his restaurants. Salt Bay was also shamed in 2022 when he gate-crashed the World Cup final pitch in Qatar so he could be snapped with a trophy Argentina had just won. At the time, he claimed, "I love Argentina. I lived there for a while. I went to the match to support them." But after facing tremendous fallout, he clarified, "Most of the team came to my restaurant. I didn't feel like a stranger. That moment was a very special moment. I can't do anything about what happened there, but I will never, ever step foot on a World Cup pitch again." Well, there you go. He will never invade a soccer match ever again. There you are. In Things I never knew about Ted Bundy for 500, Alex, and now you'll know too. Allegedly, serial killer Ted Bundy stole Kurt Russell's food during an escape from police custody, say Kate and Oliver Hudson. Yes, I'm very proud of you. You found a stick. Well, if you would like me to. Kurt Russell narrowly escaped a run in with Ted Bundy, according to his stepchildren, Oliver and Kate Hudson. The Monarch Legacy of Monsters actor has been in a relationship with the siblings' mother, Goldie Hawn, since 1983, and Kate and Oliver say there's plenty that fans don't know about the Hollywood icon. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's why I clicked on this. On Monday's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, ew, Kate, do better. Kate said he always finds himself in some sort of scenario. Oliver recalled some of Russell's most bizarre stories, among which include the time he beat up Tex Watson, who was Charlie Manson's right-hand guy. Oliver said that Russell briefly crossed paths with Bundy in June 1977 after Bundy escaped the Pitkin County Courthouse in Aspen, Colorado, by jumping out of a second-story window. This is a crazy story, said Oliver. Kurt was camping and he had his plate of food. He went to go get a beer or something. He comes back and his plate of food is gone. Ted Bundy then gets caught and recounts sort of how he survived after escaping. And he said he found this guy camping in the woods with his friends. He leaves the thing and he grabs and eats his food. Oliver continued. By going to get a beer, Russell narrowly avoided a potentially dangerous confrontation with Bundy. I don't know if you're the only one watching on Rumble, Slidey Pie. I'm still working on growing Rumble, so I don't know how many people are on there yet. At the time, this serial killer was on trial in Pitkin County for the 1975 unaliving of 23-year-old nurse Karen Campbell. Bundy was not required to wear handcuffs or leg shackles in the courthouse because he was representing himself during the trial, which meant he could use the law library. Bundy escaped by jumping out of the second-story window and heading straight for the mountains outside of Aspen, per the ABC News. Bundy broke into a cabin while evading the authorities for 6 days and later stole a car. He was recaptured when a police deputy saw the car weaving across the road. Though Russell and Hawn never married, Oliver and Kate, whom Hawn shares with her first husband, Bill Hudson, referred to the actor as Dad. So there you go. Well, yes, there's 13 people, but I can't see how many are on Rumble right now. But let me pull Rumble up so I can see that. It looks like you might be the only one watching on Rumble right now. But I haven't been promoting Rumble as much. I need to work on that much more, so it is. Oh, I didn't even know that. You're a genius. Shenanigran, you're a genius. So there you go. Kurt Russell, apparently meeting everyone. It shouldn't be, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It should be the 7 degrees of Kurt Russell, apparently. After I've watched him play Snake Plissket, I think he could do just about anything. In news I hadn't heard before, or at least I hadn't heard this case before. NYPD sergeant slapped with manslaughter charge after hurling water cooler after fleeing suspect allegedly unaliving him. I don't even know what to make of this case. An undercover NYPD sergeant was charged Tuesday with second-degree manslaughter in the August death of a scooter-riding drug suspect who crashed after a cop threw a cooler at him. I mean, that just seems like ninjanuity. Thank you so much. Let me see. What? Fry, stop. You're being a booger butt. Thank you so much, Slidey Pie. And I think I can pull up. Thank you for donating $2. Let me put that up on the board. I don't know what has gotten into you today other than it rained, sir, and you don't like going out in the rain. Because you are being a pain in the doohickeys. He's like, I know, but I'm still cute and you like me. No, not that leg. All right. Sergeant Eric Duran, 36, was arraigned in a Bronx Supreme Court on that charge, which carries a potential maximum sentence for 25 years in prison, as well as assault in the first and second degrees and criminally negligent homicide for the death of Eric Dupree, 30, on August 23rd, 2023, in Kingsbridge Heights. Yes, I buy him treats. No, not right now. You're going to wait, sir. Duran was conducting a buy and bust operation on Aqueduct Avenue near West 190th Street around 5 p.m. when Dupree took off on a motorized scooter, said New York Attorney General Letitia James, or Letitia. Look, I think it's Letitia. We're just going to say yes. It's all the doohickeys. James's office, which is handling the prosecution. As Dupree made his escape, Duran grabbed someone's cooler off a nearby table and threw it at the fleeing suspect, hitting him in the head and throwing him off balance, James's office said in a statement. Dupree sideswiped a tree before he was hurled from the scooter and banged his head on the curb, ultimately landing under a parked vehicle, the Attorney General said. Oh, okay. Oh, well, there you go. This seems like a very unfortunate case. Should he have thrown a cooler at a guy on a scooter? No. Surveillance video obtained by the Post showed the moment the white cooler struck Dupree, who was shown on his scooter veering from the sidewalk into the street before tumbling from his ride as multiple bystanders surrounded him. Dupree died there of blunt force injuries to his head, authorities said at the time. Squab Bob. Thank you. He had sold not street legal pharmaceuticals to the sergeant before fleeing on his scooter, police said. Duran was suspended and later placed on modified duty following the incident, according to the Attorney General. He was released on a $150,000 bond posted by a prominent Big Apple bail bondsman, Ira Judlison, following his court appearance Tuesday, and is due back before a judge on April 18th. The Sergeants Benevolent Association Union blasted James for bringing the charges against Duran. Quote, the demonization of Sergeant Duran and the criminalization of his actions once again proves the old adage that overzealous prosecutors with political agendas can indict a ham sandwich if inclined to. The SBA President Vince Vallog said in a statement. Oh, I'm sorry, Mo. Yes. What? Oh, thank you, MLS Raid. Thank you, thank you. Sorry. Hello. Thank you guys for rating. Thank you, MLS. Oh, oh, thank you. So Squid Pro Quo said, on a complete side note, I took a continuing education course on CRPS. It makes me hate the PT and OT staff that worked with Maya even more. Everything they did was wrong. I feel that, but I also try to remember that this isn't something that they see a whole lot of. Now, I try to I'm trying to do this thing where I try to not assume that people are giant dirt bags originally. Like, I'm trying to be a better, more mature person. I, I don't really like the idea, but I'm trying. I think you could have gotten him for assault because he did throw something at this gentleman. Look, if I were on a scooter, I would have crashed myself. I think the fact that there was video, I I don't know how I feel about this case. Oh, hello? Sergeant Duran made a split-second decision that was predicated solely on his concern for the safety of others. He now has become the latest victim of a legal system that treats honest, hardworking cops as criminals and criminals as victims. Okay, he did throw a cooler at a dude, which, I mean, let's be honest, if if any one of us threw a cooler at a dude and he crashed and ran into a tree, general we'd be facing about the same charges he, is. So I don't know how I feel about this one. Now, he was speeding recklessly, and it said he was going down the sidewalk. So Valong claimed that Dupree, the victim, was driving 40 miles down the sidewalk, endangering pedestrians and children, and would have crashed into cops standing in front of where the eventual path of the scooter was, should he not have tried to stop Duran, or had the cop not tried to stop him. Without Duran's effort, Dupree would have caused serious injuries or death to numerous people. I think that might be a little exaggerated, but I don't know. I haven't seen the video. I'll have to look at it. Dupree had at least 2 previous arrests, including an open felony assault case in the Bronx from June 2022 for allegedly throwing a 2-liter bottle of soda through a driver's window, as you do. Duran faced death threats in the aftermath of the incident, and the NYPD was said to be installing cameras at the sergeant's Putnam County home and stationing officers there in September, the sources said. Duran's attorney, Andrew Quinn, previously told the Post that the case is anything but open and shut. There's so much more to this situation than the brief 10-second video clip shows, Quinn told the Post. What is indisputably clear is that the deceased, who was intent on evading arrest for selling drugs to an undercover officer, was speeding on a motorbike at in an incredibly dangerous manner down a crowded sidewalk, jeopardizing the life and safety of everyone there. Once a full and complete investigation is conducted, we are fully confident that Sergeant Duran will be exonerated of any misconduct or wrongdoing. Yeah, it might have been Fago. Look, I understand through the family, they are suffering a tragic loss. But he was also doing something wrong, evading police. I don't know how I stand on this one. I guess I'll have to see all of the facts. And this, I hadn't even heard of this case, to be honest with you, until the headline kind of stuck out at me and said, "Cop throws cooler at man." Oh, thank you so much, Diana, or Kylie. Look, swift introduction, I stink at names. Sorry about that. In other news, and we need the stinger because Florida man, only in the state of Florida. Routine traffic stop turns into a street pharmaceutical bust when driver hands officer his license with meth on it. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? A Florida man got busted after he forgot to brush the meth off of his driver's license. I thought you were supposed to use ones, or you were supposed to roll up dollar bills. Look, as a not street pharmacist, I don't know the ins and outs of all these things, but I thought you were supposed to use like a dollar bill rolled up to do all this. I had no idea you were using your driver's license, sir. Polk County Sheriff's, oh, if there is a sheriff, what's his face, media, press conference about this, we are watching. Polk County Sheriff's Office deputies were in the area of Lake Hatchenia and Walken Road in Haines City when they noticed a tailgate on a pickup truck was covering the license plate. A probable cause affidavit reviewed by Law and Crime says deputies pulled Robert Brush, 46, over and asked for his license. When he handed it over, deputies noticed a white crystalline substance on it. And he said, "Sir, it's just Splenda. I'm trying to be keto friendly." He said, "It's stevia. My wife's got me on a diet." Cards like driver's license are often used. Oh, well, they're explaining to us how it works. Cards like driver's license are often used to break up non-legal street pharmaceuticals. So the deputy tested the substance, and it allegedly came back positive for the meth. Brush claimed he didn't know how and where the drugs would have come from. It was magic. Oh, for the love of all. Deputies called in a police dog, which alerted them that there were actual street pharmaceuticals in the car. Tucked away between the driver's seat and the center console, cops found a baggie filled with what appeared to be large, Breaking Bad amounts of the same substance on the license. It was an Easter miracle. There were a total of 14.223 grams. Deputies also found another baggie with about 2 grams. Robert Brush's brush with the law resulted in his arrest. He was taken to Polk County Jail, all because of a minor traffic infraction and Mr. Brush's inability to brush off his license. The Polk County Sheriff's Office quipped on X, "It's not the first time someone has handed over their license covered in an illegal substance." Deputies arrested Brush on charges of traffic in amphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia. Would that be the license then? I mean, I'm just asking, so can your license technically be called or considered paraphernalia? Uh, and tampering with physical evidence. He's been a frequent visitor to the jail over the years. Jail records show he's been lodged there over 50 times since 1997. Well, I think after your first 10 times, you get a free drink with every 10 visits you go in there. I think he's getting ready to get a t-shirt. So, I mean, the frequent flyers program does have nice benefits once in a while. Sir, do better. I know addiction is hard, but do better for the love. Uh, and while we're in Florida, a Florida woman vanished in November and police just investigated the home of the woman who organized the search. Yeah, I think it's like, when you go and you get, your Polar Pop and like your 13th Polar Pop is free. I I have to imagine it's like that. The investigation into disappearance of a Florida mother who went missing in early November has seen yet another twist. After the husband of missing Nicole Baldwin was charged with possession of child grossness of the computer variety, police have now reportedly searched the home of a woman who has organized searches. In a statement given to News 6, the Mount Dora Police Department confirmed that it searched the home of Terry Rogers. On Friday, January 19th, the Mount Dora Police Department executed an investigative search warrant related to the continuing search for missing person Nicole Baldwin. The department said in a reported statement, the status of the investigation is ongoing. Rogers spoke to the outlet and said the department searched her home or her phone as well as different computers in her residence. They think I withheld information, Rogers told News 6, adding that she doesn't know where Baldwin is. Baldwin was last seen by her daughter Alicia, 20, on November 2nd and was reported missing 3 days later. Reported Daily Commercial. Baldwin's personal belongings were found in the home from which she vanished, according to a report from Fox 35. In December, authorities seized the phone of Brett Baldwin, Nicole's husband, who was being investigated in a missing persons investigation, News 6 reported, citing a complaint. According to a report from WESH, authorities alleged that they found 31 images of disgusting, gross stuff that will get you sent directly to Snake Island. One way. Brett was arrested and is facing federal charges for possession of child grossness, according to Marion County jail records. Rogers has organized several searches for Baldwin, despite saying she doesn't know the missing mother, News 6 reported. She told the outlet the search is personal for her because her niece has been missing since June. Then why isn't she looking for her niece? Does that make sense to anyone else? Okay. All right. I just live here. All righty. In other news, a showdown between Oklahoma High Court and AG over unaliving by the state delayed 8 times, and it's headed to the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear the appeal of Richard Glossip, the Oklahoma death row inmate whose state-sanctioned unaliving has already been rescheduled 8 times. Well, you never want to go to certain appointments. It's always like, oh, time for your colonoscopy. You know what? I'm gonna skip that this next 5 years, if that's okay with you, Doc. The case has created an unusual battle between Oklahoma's Republican Attorney General and its highest court. The justices granted uh, Centorari in Glossip versus Oklahoma on Monday morning and directed the parties to brief an additional question of state criminal procedure. Glossop, now 60, was convicted in 1998 and sentenced to state-sanctioned unaliving for the murder for hire of his motel owner boss Barry Van Treese the prior year. It is undisputed that Justin Sneed actually unalived Van Treese. Sneed, who had a history of drug abuse and psychiatric problems that was not disclosed by prosecutors, later testified that he named Glossop as a way of cooperating with prosecutors and avoiding the, DP himself. Sneed also told other inmates that he acted alone to rob Van Treese with the plan that he and his girlfriend would use the robbery funds to buy drugs. Interesting plan. Glossop's conviction was overturned in 2001 due to ineffective defense counsel. He got a new trial and was reconvicted in 2004 and once again sentenced to, unaliving. Glossop was to be unalived in 2015, but when prison officials realized they received the wrong lethal drug just hours before Glossop was to be, unalived, you know, they decided to reschedule. Later investigation revealed that the same incorrect judge had been used to unalive another inmate earlier the same year. Glossop's unaliving had not been the only death sentence plagued by procedural problems. Y'all have one job. Hey, I have an idea. You guys are in the one place that has a bunch of people who are kind of professional at unaliving people. Problem, solution, problem, solution. I mean, you're in a place chock full of weird sociopaths. I mean, I know you're not allowed to do it, but I'm just saying. The unaliving of inmate Clayton Lockett was stopped when Lockett began to groan, convulse, and speak during the unaliving process. After already being declared unconscious, Lockett suffered a heart attack and died 43 minutes later. Well, that one's on God. Oklahoma temporarily paused all of its unalivings while investigations were completed. In February 2022, a bipartisan group of 35 Oklahoman legislators hired pro bono lawyers at law firm Reed Smith to review the Glossop case. Ultimately, the investigation revealed significant evidence of government misconduct and destruction of evidence. Also in 2022, Oklahoma resumed unalivings after a 6-year hiatus. Well, then planned the unalivings of one prisoner per month for nearly every month starting August and continuing through December 2024. Before the Glossop findings were finalized, though, then Oklahoma, for the love of all that is Cheetos, I only know one language, and I can't even say that right all the time. Then Oklahoma Attorney General John O'Connor petitioned the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals for the unaliving dates for Glossop and 24 other death row inmates. 5 days after O'Connor's petition was filed, Reed Smith issued its report that concluded there had been evidence of prosecutorial misconduct and Glossop was likely innocent. The appeals court granted O'Connor's request and set an unaliving date for Glossop. Governor Kevin Sitt temporarily stayed Glossop's unaliving on August 16, 2020, to give the appeals court time to consider Glossop's appeal. In April 2023, the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals upheld Glossop's conviction, and the state's Pardon and Parole Board rejected his request for clemency. Wait a minute. So, an independent, privately paid, you know, lawyers tell you that there's been significant prosecutorial misconduct and it's likely that this man is innocent, and the state's like, nah, it'll be fine. Are you kidding me? The appeal of that ruling is what is before the High Court now, though O'Connor is no longer Oklahoma's top lawyer and his successor does not want the unaliving to proceed. On July 5th, 2023, Oklahoma Attorney General Genter Drummond petitioned the Supreme Court on behalf of Glossop, asking that Glossop be given a retrial, an unusual move, particularly in the light of the fact that the victim's family and the Oklahoma District Attorneys Association stood opposed. In Drummond's petition, he said, after careful consideration, including a thorough review by independent counsel, the state of Oklahoma came to the conclusion that ensuring that justice is done in this case requires a retrial. In brief, Drummond argued that allowing the injustice of unaliving Glossop after Oklahoma admitted to its own failings would be unfathomable. Yes, okay, finally someone's speaking sense. And I say this in full light, knowing that the victim's family is feeling like justice is being snatched away from them. I get that. I understand how heartbreaking this must seem to feel like, this man has been implicated. We were told for so long that, he was involved, that, we were told by, scores of prosecutors, even the attorney general, all of these other courts have gone and said, hey, this guy is totally the guy. So I say this in full knowledge that, right now they feel like justice is being ripped away from them. But also, we don't want, with glaring issues from an independent counsel, to unalive someone with the full power of the state. Drummond made headlines when, during his 2018 campaign for Attorney General, he featured photos of unalived University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts in a segment that said, undocumented persons are committing the most heinous crimes. The parties in Glossop case will now submit briefs on the substantive issues of law at play in Glossop's case, and the matter will be placed on the highest court calendar for oral arguments. The justices, except for Justice Neil Gorsuch, will hear the arguments next term. Gorsuch was recused from the court's decision to hear Glossop's appeal and will continue to be recused as the case proceeds because he heard part of the case as an appellate court judge. This week, the justices will have a chance to grant last-minute reprieve to another death penalty case, Alabama's nitrogen hypoxia case. So this would be Kenneth Eugene Smith. This is a man that was accused of being the shooter or the hitman for a pastor who wanted to ditch his wife and hook up with his girlfriend. So, as a pastor, he can't really, chuck the old wifey poo. So he decided to pay Kenneth Eugene Smith to unalive his wife. And unfortunately, with the screw up in these lethal injection drugs, he also had an unsuccessful unaliving by the state. And he researched and he figured that the state of Alabama would not ever be able to get the procedures right for this nitrogen hypoxia. Well, now that they have, he's like, wait a minute, that's mean. That's mean too. Alabama is set to unalive Smith on January 25th, 2024, by an experimental gas method never before used in the U.S. The 58-year-old Smith will be basically made to inhale pure nitrogen. The state authorized the use of nitrogen hypoxia in a statute, but had never actually used it. Smith's case came before the Supreme Court at an intermediate phase as the justices heard an appeal over an order to stay his unaliving. At that time, Justice Clarence Thomas, a stalwart supporter of the DP, called Alabama's statutory authorization of nitrogen hypoxia simply irrelevant to the constitutional question of whether the Eighth Amendment would permit its use in Smith's execution. So basically what Smith was trying to play this game. Basically, he was saying it was unimaginable pain and torture when they couldn't find a vein, and then the, cocktail didn't work. So that was against his, human rights. And then he kind of put in this nitrogen hypoxia thinking, hey, they're never going to do this. And I'll, ask for this, and then they'll never do this. Well, now in a last-ditch effort to try to, again, just wiggle out of this for a little bit more time, he's asked to go in front of a force multiplier squad. Now, the nitrogen hypoxia, I do believe that they have a certain variant of this in sort of certain Norwegian countries, I believe. Look, we have Baker and we have Nicholas, so I don't want to say the wrong one. I want to say it's Sweden, but I could be very wrong. So I'm just going to say Nordic countries. There's one of them that has medically assisted, if you have chronic long-term issues, they have these pods you can go into, and they will slowly exchange carbon dioxide with oxygen, and you basically kind of lose consciousness and don't come out of the pod, if you catch my drift. So this is not a completely out of the realm of reality sort of thing. Oh, well, there you go. I'm sorry, Fed. Well, I didn't want to make fun of the Canadians. But yes, so it's not a... Why was I thinking it was somewhere? I don't know. Look, I have all these facts, and I could remember things. It was a beautiful time. Not now. But those are the stories, you guys. I do like that this attorney general is making them go through and give a retrial. And like I said, my heart does go out to, the victim's family, because I do understand how this can look incredibly unfair from their point of view. So I do get that. I guess Fry's tuckered himself out. He's like, I got a stick. He was very proud of himself. I will see you all in the morning. Have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are, because you guys are all over the place and all over the timelines. And then we will stay warm, stay safe. It's the Newsy News in the mornings with Mo and Fry. I will be there with cold caffeine, as always.